So I got to go back to BTS. Where did the love begin? And I mean, have you been in love with them since they debuted?
They debuted in 2013. I love their music, and like I it wasn't as much of like a, oh my god, they're so beautiful, like love that I have now. But it was but before, like I listened to a couple of K-pop artists back in the day, like the older generations, like Shiny, Girls' Generation, Psy, Jessie, all those things. And you know, I just like the beat. It was just like K-pop. I don't know if you've ever listened to K-pop like in a whole, but like it gets you popping. Like you're about to dance. Like, you're like, hey, this is catchy. I don't know what they're saying, but yes. So as time went on, like, and they became more in your face, like, and then they got older, obviously, because the youngest debuted when he was like 14. Oh, wow. So, you know, at that time, and like I was in college, and like I remember when Gangnam Style came out, and now all of a sudden everyone in America is like, what is this? Like K-pop, all that stuff.
Welcome, fellow lushes. Come on in, pull up a bar stool, and enjoy some cocktails with Dimples and the Beard.
Is it weird for you to have to wear all these shirts that obviously don't fit any longer? What do you mean? Nothing. What do you mean? Did you see my new shirt?
I do.
Icarus Bell, baby.
I do like it.
Yeah. Like, you know which size shirt this is, though?
Do you want me to answer that?
3. Nice. Triple porn XL.
Nice.
I know. I like it just because it's triple X, baby.
Well, can't go wrong with triple X.
So tonight's guest is a seat filler. It's one of her jobs, and she was a seat filler last night at the Billboard Music Awards.
You know, we got to rename our podcast now. You know that, right?
We have to rename this podcast?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, it's going to be Cocktails with Nipples and the Foot Scabber.
And the Foot Scabber? That's the best you could come up with?
Or just Scabby. I'd go with the Scabby.
With Dimples and Scabby?
And Scabby.
Okay. You hijacked my bringing up who our guest
intro
is for that.
Well, you jumped in too quickly.
No, I didn't. We got like 5 minutes because you had to go take your one last lady tinkle.
I know. It felt so good. I don't want it on my brain.
Oh my God.
So I need to always do the last. You never pass up an opportunity to pee.
Oh, is that where you're at now?
Oh, yeah. At my age? Fuck yeah. You got it.
All right. Oh! God!
How's it going over there? Scabby.
Scabby. Uh-oh. I don't have headphones no more.
Tuck it. Remember? Tuck it under your leg.
No, it's good. It's good. I stepped on it with Scabby. The easiest way to deal with a horrendous nickname that somebody gives to you is to just
embrace it.
Yeah. You got to dive right in yourself. Yeah. So yeah, Scabby stepped on it. Yeah. I got a really fucked up heel. The skin is incredibly dry and like 6 inches thick. And I'm sorry, but if you had what I have,
isn't that what's the name of that? Corn? No,
I don't know.
Bunion.
Corn? Like no, a bunion's on your toes. Corn, like in.
Is it just toes? Bunion? You can have a bunion on your foot, can't you?
I don't.
It's a great topic.
Oh my God. Anyway, so tell me if you didn't have this 6 inches of dead skin on your heel that was easily accessible and you could pull stuff off of it, you wouldn't do it because it's so fucking satisfying. It's incredible.
Well,
so
that's all that matters. Yeah. That you get.
So and it grossed you out that I put it on the table, and I don't care.
Well, I know you don't care.
Yeah, I don't care
a little bit.
This is my table as much as it is yours.
So,
I mean, at least during the podcast.
Back in grade school,
Scabby,
we had.
Is that where your name came from? Is that where this name came from?
No, but we did something to a girl we went to grade school with. I was one of those.
If this is a story where you're mean to a grade school girl, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, we are. So it was one of those like we, weren't quite into girls, but you didn't know that you like girls, but you did like girls and you wanted to. So we were tease this one girl. Remember, she was like one of the cutest girls things. So we're pretty smart. Me and my buddy, not this Dan, but a different Dan. There was me and 2 other Dans. And his brother, Adam, was cutting his toenails and they were big and they were disgusting. And he had all these long clippings and he was holding them to clip them all at once in his bed. We'd always go in his room and always get out of here, you two. But for some reason we were in there that day talking to him, listening to probably like a Cheech and Chong or Steve Martin album. And then all of a sudden he's clipping his toenails. And we're like, that's disgusting. So we had this idea that we took all the toenails, put them in an envelope with a love letter and gave it to her in the morning. So when she opened it, I'm not laughing because it's funny, because it's disgusting and we're icky boys. On her desk was all these really big, disgusting toenails. We might have gotten in trouble for that. But that's my toenail disgusting story.
That's mean.
It was very mean. Dan, you know who it is. You are.
I wonder, do you know who she is now?
I have no idea what her name is.
Oh,
No clue. I would love to reach out to her. There's so many grade school girls I'd love to reach out to.
probably can't reach out to her. She probably killed herself.
Oh, that was so gross.
They're just toenails.
I know, but they were so big. They were so disgusting.
People's disgust with these things is just.
Well, okay, as a grade school girl, you got an envelope, and I think we played it off like, we're sorry for all the teasing we did. We want to make amends. We wanted to give you something, and then when they opened it, I remember it.
I mean, here's why I could do it, and you couldn't say that's mean, and why you did it, but it's mean.
We did it to be mean.
Because I don't think that toenails are fucking gross. So I'm like, big deal.
Yeah, but you cut them at work.
No, I don't. You readily admit that you think they're fucking disgusting.
Well,
and then you gave them to some girl.
Yep.
That's just mean.
When somebody, yeah.
I get it.
It's not the worst thing in the world, but when somebody else is cutting them in there, and they were,
I give Leah these
they were just like this long after he cut them.
I give Leah these dead heel skin scabs as a sign of my affection.
Well,
because I think they're awesome. So I give them to her.
That's love.
I know.
Everybody's got their kink.
And it's not a kink. It's me. It's me giving her a gift.
From you.
Straight
from your body.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. That's nice. That's nice. I'm glad she appreciates it.
I think she does.
She save them?
I don't know.
Does she save them? Like years later, she can.
Well, I'll ask.
Like press a rose that someone gave petals. She presses your.
I'll tell you what. We'll ask her this weekend.
We will do that.
Yeah, we'll put her on the spot and make her answer that and see if she's got my collection of dead heel skin somewhere.
Let's get drunk and then record it.
All right. Without further ado, the beautiful Priscilla Moy. Hi.
Hi, how are you guys?
We are fantastic. How are you?
I'm great. It's nice
Good.
to finally meet you. You guys look great and awesome and ready. You do. You are prepared. Look at your setup.
We are ready to. Well,
what's this? This is our first time. Yeah, this is episode 60 something. So we've done this a few times now. We're getting there.
By any means, we're not professionals, or do we have this down?
Wait.
You look like it though. That's the good part.
Technically, we are professionals. We've been paid slightly for this, but no longer. But so we were professionals. Now we're back to amateur status,
and we fooled some people.
Yeah. So,
but you are a professional, and thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me. Honestly, I'm just an average regular girl, who likes to drink beer. Don't mind me. Professional, yeah, I guess, but.
And
we will get into that. Professional in a lot of.
I was gonna say, what title do we use? Professional model.
So many areas.
Whatever you want to call me. Honestly, I feel like I like being a jack of all trades. So I mean.
Well, that's for sure. That's for sure. You're yeah. We'll get into that. Because you're dabbling in everything. It's just got to be part of your letting, your expressiveness out is what we'll tap into that. That's awesome.
Yes, for sure.
So let's introduce Priscilla Moy, correct?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
Welcome.
And you're out in the Vegas area, correct?
Yes, I am.
And we
Great Sin City.
Yeah, we have quite a connection with the city. We've had quite a few guests now from Vegas, and we learned of you when we had Tori Ellis on, and decided to reach out to you. And we've also talked with Adrian Leon, and who's a movie director out there that Tori was in his movie, and so we have quite a few ties to people out there now in Vegas. So
Yeah, that's good. There's a lot of great people out here. You know, it's a very underrated city. You know, people always have a stigma of what they think Vegas is, and which it, you know, it is and it can be, but at the same time, it's also a city full of like many opportunities.
yeah,
Which a lot of people don't realize. But I guess it's better for us that come and live here and take them. So, you know,
Take advantage of it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
absolutely. And
Well,
we're getting you fresh off of the Billboard Music Awards.
I am. Yes. I see you're watching, but yeah, I am.
How was your
just
night?
over there? It was great. I didn't know what to expect. You know, I've been to a couple of music awards since moving out here, and they're all been different in their own right.
okay.
You know, you never really know what to expect, what you'll be doing, who you'll meet, you know. So it was pretty cool. There was a lot of people there. I think not as many as past. This is my first Billboards.
Okay.
But I was coming straight off the Grammy, so it was completely opposite experience. You know, this was way louder. A lot of people have more freedom to just enjoy themselves concert-wise. Like, that's the kind of vibe I felt. Versus the Grammys, it's way more sophisticated. It reminded me kind of like how you would see the Oscars in acting. So, but it's a fun experience, like just to see what it's like being there instead of just watching it at home on the big screen.
Can imagine. It's amazing.
And you were sitting right in the front row, it looked like.
Oh, yes, I was. I couldn't believe it either. I was like, oh, so this is how it's set up. Interesting. Okay, I'll take it.
Heck yes.
Yes.
How did you get involved with that aspect of all the award show? Music, it seems like music, and you mentioned the Oscars or the Golden Globes. Is it strictly music that you're working with?
Well, right now, like, because I'm in Vegas and I'm taking advantage of whatever comes here, you know, music is actually the only type of award shows that have been out here, because everything's either held on the East Coast or like in LA. Right. You know, mostly all I think the Tonys probably are in New York, but like the Emmys and Oscars and SAG-AFTRA, all those are probably out in LA. So for right now, luckily, because I think Vegas is slowly building up and everyone's starting to recognize it as a place that they can film, they could do all of these things, record, have concerts, because now we have Allegiant Stadium. They're just bringing whatever they can here. I mean, we got lucky with the Grammys because that was canceled. That was originally supposed to be in LA, but we got it. So whatever happens on here, I'm just trying to get involved with, you know, part of marketing, branding, type of business wise for me. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you're in modeling, obviously you want your face seen as much as possible. So getting to these kind of events is, I mean, first of all, just how cool is it to be able to go to those events? And then when it's kind of your job.
Right. And that's mostly a thing for me, because right now, like, I'm humble in the aspect where it's like, if there's an opportunity, and it's, even if I'm just going there, I'm not actually performing or like actually sitting with celebs. Like, if I get the chance, it's great. But if not, I'm like, hey, I'm here. I did it. I somehow got in. Like, you meet a lot of people there too that aren't involved in music, you know, production companies, you get involved with those, like you meet people there. And then even if you meet celebrities, if I have an event where I can dress up and show my own style, my fashion sense, and someone asks me what I do, you don't know who you'll meet, you know, and it's just kind of, it's a networking type of strategy in a way. Yeah.
So do you have restrictions? Like, do they tell you, no talking to stars, or this, you have to wear this certain kind of dress or anything like that? Or is it?
No, you do. There are a lot, depending on how big the event is. The Grammys, they took our phones. We were not allowed to have our phones. And then they give you like wardrobe, what to wear, what not to wear, kind of the mood board. But I normally would look onto past events just to feel the vibe, right? Because Grammys are completely different than the Billboards. Like, okay, what would stars wear on the red carpet? And then the VMAs, you're thinking about MTV Music Awards, like that's a completely different ballpark. But then
the Country Music Award, you did that as well. The country, that's got to be right.
Yeah. But yeah, they do say not to be extra, because I know a lot of people will, you know, they'll be like, oh, you know, can I get your Snapchat? Can I get all of that? And they try to tell you like, don't be obnoxious. You know what I mean? And you try, like, I never want to bother the big celebs and be like, can I take a selfie? Like, you don't want to act like a fangirl when technically you're there as a colleague. Right. And so, and I see it, like, if I didn't do this full time, I think I would have less shame into like fangirling or going up to them and like one-time deal. But in the future, I think of if these people end up being my professional colleagues and they see me as that, I don't want them to remember me as, oh my God, you were that girl that like ran up to me and I was unprepared and screaming. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I mean,
makes sense. Yeah.
Part of it is, I mean, if that's the life you want to be involved in, you have to make it, you have to be involved now.
Your own.
Like,
yeah, exactly. You have to just be as one,
right.
you know, act as if.
I
think the only person I freaked out for were BTS, the K-pop band. I'm such a fan. When I saw them like right here, I was like, like,
well, I was gonna ask
now,
you,
girl, like
which was who did you meet that was the hardest to contain yourself? And obviously there you go.
Yeah,
you that a lot.
It was BTS. Yeah.
What the heck? They are so big. It's not that they don't well deserve, but when you think you know how big they are, they're like 10 times bigger than you think.
Wow. Yeah, the power they have is actually unreal. I tell people, I'm like, you know, they're powerful when the whole city of Las Vegas like changes everything. They shut down. Like there's pop-ups happening, there's after parties happening. They turn the strip purple and that's their color. And then they have all of these things just bowing down to like 7 men from Korea. It's actually amazing.
That's crazy. I mean, as much as I love music and some of the big musicians that have been like, I can't think of anything like that.
Oh,
where, you know,
they're worldwide.
Where you like even the Beatles, like you think of the Beatles and how they weren't changing cities for the beat. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy how popular it is.
Yeah, K-pop is its own genre. You know, I'm a big K-pop stan, and I see the difference between the type of fans that K-pop has and like how they act. Like that's normal in the K-pop world, but like now that it's moving and being so global and out here on the West, to us, it's like, we've never seen anything like this. You know what I mean? But that's like, when I'm listening to other music, see these other bands, and I go to K-pop nights, like at the club or something, and that's how they act for every band. You know, they have pictures of them, they have different chants, all of these different things. And it's actually amazing, you know?
Sure. Wow. This had to have been 5 years ago, if not more. An ex-girlfriend's daughter went to Chicago to see him, and it was like 10 minutes it sold out, the biggest one, and she was like the furthest row back just to lucky to get a ticket. That's crazy. So my question, and we don't have to, unless you want to spend the whole time talking about them.
Oh, I could, honey. Don't test me. I will make the whole time about BCS.
You know what? I mean, to be quite,
I was going to ask. Yeah, you probably could.
To be quite honest with how popular they are, that's probably in our best interest is if we just talk about them the whole time.
Yeah.
So we'll say 5 years ago, is it the same members?
Yes.
It is. Yes. Okay. I don't know why I thought that they cycled through the members to keep them young, and that's what I thought I read somewhere. Am I way off?
They debut. What happens in K-pop is they audition for labels and they become a trainee. So they train in like modeling, dance, singing, things like that. And then when a label is ready to make a band, they pick throughout the trainees based on their personality, how well they think they'll go, and then they'll make them a group. And then they have like a whole debut process. And then from then on, they just constantly release music, doing promo stuff. The work ethic in South Korea is like extreme, nonstop work. They can't date. They can't just go out whenever they want to. It's nothing like Western culture. So, yeah.
Well, what amazes me is when you watch them, how physical they are, and they sound still, good live singing. Well, they're dancing and do those moves. I'm like,
they're actually in shape.
I'm out of breath watching you.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And it's like every song, they have a different routine that they got to remember. I love dance, watching like musicals. So it's really cool to watch.
Yeah, for sure. The stamina is crazy, but that's what they train for. And that's why it's its own thing. They have their own standards and everything has to be very meticulous. So I value that. I admire that. I think that's part of the why I like K-pop, because I feel like I can relate to that type of work ethic in a way, when it comes to my own art and the things that I do,
Yeah, I was going to say, you're obviously, and I say this you're obviously a hustler. I mean, you got a million things going on, and Instagram, there's always something. And, we not too long ago spoke to a woman who's a model on OnlyFans, and she was kind of this, just had that same spirit where I could just tell she just grinds and goes, and she's going to make it. You know, like there's no doubt she's going to make it.
Oh yeah.
And I get the same thing when I peek at your Instagram and see what's going on.
Oh, thank you. I mean, that's the mindset, because I'm like, you think about like, what am I doing all of this for?
Yeah.
You know, am I just going to stop one day and be like, you know what, I'm just going to go to a 9 to 5. You know, at this point in my life, I've been doing this over a decade. It's just like, now there's no turning back. Like I have to make this happen. You know what I mean? Everyone's watching now at this point. We can't disappoint everybody. So I'm just like, all right, just keep the motivation going, you know?
Yeah.
That's hard. That's a lot.
It is. Yeah. You know, because then as time goes on, people are watching your progress. And in the beginning, there was a lot of, especially people who had access to me, you know, family, friends, people I went to school, like whether I liked them or not, like whether they believed in me or not. But there's a lot of like, I don't know, like, yeah, you have this dream, but do you have a backup plan, all these things. But then as slowly as time went on, you know, people are starting to see like, oh, she wasn't playing around. Like she's out here doing it. And now at the point where I'm at now, everyone's just like rooting for me.
Yeah.
And so now to me, I'm just like, okay, I can't disappoint them. I mean, but most of all, I don't want to disappoint myself, because I look at my growth and I'm like, look at what I've accomplished so far. Like I can't stop now. I mean, I'm not even where I want to be yet. So at this point, I'm like, if I could do everything I've done now, I could do everything else.
Yeah, and
absolutely.
To speak to that, I'll tell everybody to go to your website and look at your job resume that you have posted on your website, because
and get ready to scroll.
Yeah, we like to do research for these things, believe it or not. And I started looking. I'm like, there's too much to write down. We'll just
yeah. Eventually I'll trim it down when I don't need one anymore, but I keep it that way just so people don't put me in a box.
Oh, and I think it's great. Like I said, it shows
absolutely.
the hustle. I mean, you obviously are,
and the versatility of what you can do.
Right.
Which real quick to touch on, you went going back. You went to school at Illinois.
Yes, Illinois Wesleyan University.
Wow.
I'm from Chicago originally, so
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So hold on 1 second.
And you have a bachelor's of fine arts.
We have old fashions in front of us. And when you said you liked old fashions, I was like, why would she like, but I get it. You're a Midwest girl. So
yes,
I
am a Chi-town girl. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. The old fashioned makes sense then. So
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's good. And that's what we are drinking tonight for you is some old fashions.
Yes. Turn up.
They're very Midwest and they're delicious.
So how long were you in Chicago?
So I was born and raised in Chicago.
Okay.
And in 2011, I went to Illinois Wesleyan University, and that's in Southern Illinois. So if you're aware of where ISU is, Illinois State, it's in the same town.
Okay.
And this school, I went here because I had a very good reputation in the theater industry, like very high up. I don't know if you know of an actor named Richard Jenkins. He's a lot older now, but he's a graduate of there.
Phenomenal.
Yes. And so, they have 4 departments in theater. They have BFA music theater, BFA acting, BA in theater, and then BFA design tech. And so it's a private school. I mean, it's also big in nursing, but I went there because I was like, okay, if anything, number one, it has a good reputation for having good training. People know of the school, they know the professors. So it's credible. Yeah. And then also I wanted the intense training because I had mostly done only theater acting like in high school and younger, but I wanted to be a good actor. I was like, all right, well, right now I was 18 at this point. I was only used to hearing rejection, right? With modeling, like getting bullied a lot in school. Like I was never the type where you would look at me and be like, okay, she's going to succeed. She's totally, you should be an actress. You should be a model. And so I was like, okay, if anything, at the end of the day, I don't want someone to say, okay, well, not only does she's Asian, she's petite, she's this, that, and the third, but then she also can't act. And she also can't, what sets her apart from everyone else. Yeah. So I was like, okay, just study, take your time right now. There's no rush to be like, I need to be a star now. So I went there for the acting intensive, and honestly, like, I think it definitely paid off. Like it was private schools. You can tell how expensive that was. But then at the end of the day, and like I suffered, and it was like the hardest time of my life was getting that degree. But now being out here in the business and being able to have that foundation, I feel like I'd be able to take on any job, if that makes sense.
It does.
Oh,
Yeah.
without a doubt. Yeah. And it
Absolutely.
seems like you've got a lot of acting things coming up.
I do.
Vegas
Yeah.
that they just
I'm
haven't
working on a
quite been
couple of
released
films
yet.
now.
How many?
Yeah. I have one lead that I'm filming next week for.
Okay.
Right now I'm working on a movie with Netflix. And I finished up filming a couple of films already. They're in post-production.
Nice.
So we'll see. You know, you do these jobs and then after it's done, you're like, okay, next.
Yeah.
And then, you know, so.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I count a whole bunch coming out. That I saw. Songbird is coming out.
Yes.
And a lot of these are
in
filmed in Vegas,
post-production.
correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we filmed that in early January. So
Okay.
yeah.
Filmed it, move on.
Yep. And I was already had a bunch of other things lined up, you know, because when you're a working actor and you don't already have that, you know, reputation as an elite and you can relax for like a month or two, you know, you always have to keep it going because then at the same time, you're worried about being forgotten, you know?
Yeah.
There's that whole thing. If you're not at that level where people already know your name and you can take the time to do whatever you want to do and that you have the financial stability to do so, you have to continue to just, while you're doing one job, you're in the middle of submitting for a bunch of other things or finding out. And that's part of the job as well. And that's what's so hard is just finding what's happening. Who do I need to talk to? Where do I have to submit? You know, that in itself is the hard part. And I think doing the actual job to me is the easy part. I'm like, okay, I got it now. Whew. Now I can just do what I'm meant to do, you know?
I hear that 100% because it's a lot like this where doing the interview part of this is great and everything else, like editing the video and all that other stuff is like, oh man, but getting to do this part of it is so awesome that you're like, okay, I'll deal with that part. So
right.
Yeah.
Definitely get
Meeting new
that.
people is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you do act, what do you prefer the most? Drama, comedy?
I like drama. I just like things that are different. You know, I get bored really easily, which is why I do this job, because each job is different and it's a new challenge to me. So my biggest fear, I will say, is that people put me into a typecast or a box or a stereotype. Like they can only see me do one thing, which is why I make sure to promote that I do a million different things or different interests. So then people are just like on edge, like, what is she going to do next? Or, you know what I mean? I want that to be what defines me, is that like I could do anything, like be anything. You know, you see the actors that play one type of role and each role they're the same. And then some actors that can literally like one movie and then they're complete opposite in another movie, and it just shows their range. Right. And that to me is what makes a great actor. So to me, I think I'm up for anything, you know.
But nothing, so you don't, if you had a choice?
I like dramas.
Dramas would be your first? Okay.
Yeah, I do. I love a drama. And I love things that make people think and feel. So something that's a little more dynamic. You know, like we're all used to the whole like romance drama, romance comedy, and that's very common. Everyone has films out here right now that are between a married couple, problems in a relationship, which isn't bad. But at the same time, like after a while, like I like things that are, you know, you sit there and you're just like, wow, there's so much to the backstory of this character. Like, you know, you think like the film I'm working on now that I'll film next week is just about this girl that's going through, she used to be a sniper. And so she's taking revenge on her sister's death. And it has to do with like a dating website, and she's trying to find who it is. So you see little bits and clips, and then you find out later as time moves on why she makes certain actions. Yeah. You know, so yeah, just things like that, you know, like keep you on your toes.
Yeah.
So when you get a role like that and they lay out to a point, you know, this is your backstory. Do you end there, or do you try and extend the backstory to help you get that character? Or do you leave it on the page?
See, some writers and some directors, they love writing a backstory, like they have like a whole paragraph, and then some are very open-ended. So it's up to you to ask those questions, and it's also up to you to just create that. Each director is different. Some directors love improv, so they're just kind of like just going with it and being like, is this realistic? Is this not realistic? And then some are very, no, this is my vision. This is definitely has to be. So that's also where you have to be able to be a good enough actor where you can switch that and be like, will this person let me take that risk? Or, and then it's dependent on the script. So if I'm looking at scenes and I'm reading it and I'm thinking of, okay, this is the general backstory, I just need to know the reason why I'm saying something or doing something. And that's enough for me to be able to play that character in the right emotion in that moment.
Okay.
So yeah, it helps with more of a backstory, but if I get a general one and the screenplay is not that intense where there's a period piece or it's a sci-fi piece,
right,
and I don't have to do as much, then I could just take it from, okay, will this character be more like this? Just from my own experiences with life and meeting different types of people, and I can categorize where that character would be placed.
Fun. Yeah, that's got to be the fun
very
part
complex. Acting is very complex. It's so much more than what a lot of people think it would be, but it's just understanding humans and how complex that we are, because we're not black or white. Like we're just all a bunch of different things, million reasons why they would do this one thing, but you just have to decide and make that decision. So
you got to figure it out.
And that's
why you honestly do, and then hope the audience is with you on it.
Yeah,
right, because that's what matters.
Right.
Yeah,
that's why, there are people out there that think, and they look at actors and think how easy that must be, and then you go, really, have you ever tried that? It's not it's not easy. Like, exactly. And then there's a bunch of people watching you, either a camera or an audience, right? And then even when you're doing a film, there's like how many crew members? Right. And then they're all sitting there waiting for you not to mess up because we're on a time crunch. You've already been here 8 hours. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just, then it's all about the face too. We have close-ups, and you have to really just show that and then hope that the audience feels it too. Because if not, then you're just kind of like one of those cringy actors that's like, but so it's a lot. So, but I've done a couple action films. I love that too. Anything that challenges me to learn something new, I think is a lot of fun.
So with action movies, are you able to use your dance knowledge into an action sequence as far as
and actually
or fighting?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was actually telling my cousin's husband recently, because we were watching Jumanji Next Level, and there's like huge fight sequences in that. And he knows that I've been working on a couple films that have a lot of fights in them. So he's like, oh, like you're able to do this, you're able to do this. And to me, I'm like, yeah, I mean, honestly, like there's a lot more if you're doing a lot of flips and stuff, but I have a background in gymnastics. But to me, I'm like, you don't understand how many times you practice the same like moves in sequence over and over. And then when you're filming it, they do one little part like 2 times from different angles, right? And then you redo it how many more times to get it. So by then it just becomes like a dance to me, because you're not actually using force and fighting people. So they're moving with you and you're moving with them, as long as you don't mess up, right? And then as you're acting and you're just making it look like it hurts and you're struggling, So to me, I'm thankful that I have dance and gymnastics background, and that I'm also like very physically active and sporty and all that, where I'm able to move like that.
I was gonna say, you do some Muay Thai training too, don't you?
Yeah. And I do high intensity interval workouts. That's the type of workouts that I like to do at home. So like Insanity, T25, a bunch of that. Something quick but effective is what I like.
Yeah. We do the same. Yeah, there you go.
I remember when I was trying to still be young, them P90X mornings. No.
It's tough, right? Like people are just like, oh, okay, at home workouts. I'm like, they're very effective.
I hate the plyometrics day where you just got to jump around for a half hour, 45 minutes. I'm like, can't do it. Sorry, Tony Horton.
Don't do it anymore. Yep.
But see, that helps with my modeling too, because now any pose I could do, I'm jumping, I can be high in the air, I can do a lot of poses models can't do. So at the end of the day, when I look back on everything that I've done, and I'm like, thank God, I took the time to do all those things and just kind of slowly learn, because now it's going to set me apart from everyone else. You know,
for sure.
Well, it does. And you, and I don't know how long ago you posted it about like runway models, and you're like, yep, say I'm too petite. And then you had a video of you doing it.
Oh, yes.
There you go.
Yes.
You don't need to be tall. You can do it.
No.
So wait, may I ask the personal question? Just how tall are you?
I'm 5'2".
Okay, so you're not tiny. I mean, 5'2" is, I mean, in supermodel world, I guess it is.
Supermodel.
Yeah, but I wear heels all the time, so a lot of people forget that I'm as short as I am, because like when they see me, I'm normally like not that short, and then when I take it off, they're like, oh. Or in pictures, like I look a lot taller because of how I pose. So that when they meet me in person, they're like, oh my gosh, or I take a picture with someone who's like 6 feet. They're like, oh, you're actually not tall. I'm like, okay, thank you. I understand.
So it is a struggle being short in height and being like, obviously you're incredibly beautiful. I would think, I would think that just the face and everything translates to, yep, I'm a model. Like, but
yeah, I mean, it doesn't. You would be surprised. I even had an agent that I recently thankfully dropped, tell me to my face that, you always have that one short girl that's friends with a designer that ruins the whole show. Like only tall girls are beautiful in gowns and beautiful in clothing. Like, so people say that to my face, like this day and age, because they're stuck in the old school of what they think looks amazing.
Yeah.
And so, but that was my whole motivation as to why I'm doing what I'm doing, is because I want to revolutionize that. Like, you don't have to be tall, like, because back in the day, they would rather choose, if I went with my portfolio and how I am now, and then another model who is 5'11", barely any experience, they will choose that model over me, because that woman, they think that they can mold them into being able to walk, being able to take pictures, because at least she physically has what they're looking for. Because a lot of designers, when they make their clothing for the runway, it's made for that height. So they need girls that are that height. But, so to me, I'm just like, okay, well, once again, I'm just going to make sure that I'm great enough where you can't ignore me. You actually see that I'm good at it. And then hopefully that will change how we see models. And then I can hopefully be.
You can always hem the dress up.
I was going to say, if you're a good designer, you can't make a dress for a girl who's 5'2".
Well, you definitely can see from your Instagram how photogenic you are. You don't take a bad picture.
Oh, thank you. That's a lot of hard work that I learned to do.
Well, you mastered it. That's for sure. Because every pose looks natural. You don't look like you're trying. It doesn't look like you're forced at all. It just is natural, and it's amazing looking.
Thank you.
Well,
I appreciate it a lot.
Quick on your dance. Have you ever, and apologize if I don't know this, have you ever done dancing in a movie? Like as a dance movie, I guess I should say.
A dance movie? No, I have not done a dance movie.
Yeah.
No, I've done yet. I'm always up for a challenge. So I definitely would fake it till I make it and be like, oh yeah. I got this. And then deep down I'd be like, girl, you better just work 10 times as hard. But no, I've only done photos.
Okay.
Yeah. And then like little dance, how do you call it? Like little videos of doing a cover, I should say covers of like K-pop choreo, but that's for my own personal to the side. And then obviously done dance concerts like in school, because I got a minor in theater dance. Right. So when I was in college, I did that too, but never a movie. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's what we gotta say is fake it to you, but you don't have to fake it. You'll they'll be lucky to get you into a dance movie. Within Vegas, that movie scene seems to be popping, even though it's a lot of independent. Correct me if I'm wrong. There's a lot of independent movies, which maybe you don't have the whole time to do takes over and over again, but boy, it seems like the shooting schedule of those independent movies is crazy.
Yeah. There are big productions coming in town, but those are already cast for principals, right? So then the chances of doing that, like you're either background or, you're doing stunts or you're doing something featured, but it's never the lead. You know what I mean? So there are, like I did a film with Wesley Snipes and Tiffany Haddish. So that was fun. So a lot of things are coming here, but it's trying to be the lead of those big films that are being like, oh yeah, we're coming to Vegas. I'll be like, okay, send me the audition.
Right.
And that was Back to the Strip, correct?
Yes.
And that's coming out. It hasn't come out yet.
That is. I don't see. The funny thing is, after these movies, like you never know when things happen. Commercials too. Like I never found out that a commercial I did with Ben Affleck was out until someone saw me on TV. I was like, oh,
Oh wow.
That's fun. I didn't know, but that's cool.
A commercial with Ben Affleck. What is this commercial for? Where do we find this?
He has a sporting app going on with the Win.
Oh,
and
okay.
it's called Win Bet.
Okay.
And yeah,
Nice.
it was shot at the Win, and it just was, yeah. Once pandemic, all the things lifted, he then hurried and filmed this thing, and then when everyone was trying to come back to Vegas because Vegas was opening up, he planned and he just released that commercial, and then everyone started coming.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I did see a picture of you with him, so
Yeah,
it seemed like he took a selfie with you.
yeah, I know. Oh my God, that was one of those things I was not allowed to do, but you know me, I was going to push it because it was either him or Shaq. Shaq was there as well. But who ended up getting me the photo was Jennifer Lopez's mom, because I ended up being moved to a scene with her. And this was before they even announced that they were dating again. And so I was sitting there. I did not know that this woman was J-Lo's mom. Everyone was like, oh, she's here. She's here. I'm like, which one is that? So I ended up talking to her. And then as time went on, the things she was saying, she's like, oh, I've known Ben for so long. Or, oh, Ben and I go way back. Like, he loves me. I love him. And I'm like, doing the math. I'm like, wait. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. So then I was just, conversing with her as a friend wise. And I was like, oh, you think that he would, take a photo with me? She's like, oh yeah, let me ask him. He'd do anything for me. So then she asked him for me. And then he was like, oh, of course, so.
Perfect. So you didn't ask him directly. So
no, because the crew was watching. People would run up to Shaq and they would be like, stop. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm not going to get in trouble. I'm going to get kicked off this set,
Sure.
So.
Sure. Well, to be fair, you'd have been up to his kneecap. So
exactly.
What kind
that
of
would have
picture
been
would
funny though. A lot of people are like, oh, we would have loved to see the height difference between you and Shaq. I'm like, that would have been hilarious.
It would have been a good photo, but it would have been from back. You'd have to stand back to take it.
And I got to believe if you like Shaq, just everything you hear about Shaq, what a great guy he seems to be. I'm sure he'd have been fine taking a picture too.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he seems like
people were FaceTiming. Oh, my brother loves you. But anytime I try to go up, a crew member stopped me, and I was like, oh great, of course. Whenever I do it, So, but I got Ben Affleck, so it doesn't matter. No one else did. They tried to afterwards, and then the crew was like, no, we gotta go. You gotta move. So I'm like,
did it the right way,
right?
Oh, you always get up the mom. Yeah, there you go.
Get the mother-in-law involved.
Yeah.
Future mother-in-law. But back to that movie, that's a big cast. Kevin Hart, Wesley Snipes, Tiffany Haddish.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Did you get to hang out with any of them?
Yeah, I did a lot of scenes. You'll see me in there. I'm very featured because I was the lead bridesmaid.
Nice.
And they always put me up there, and I was even in the room. I originally did not know, they never tell you who is on these movies. When you get cast, right? They keep it very vague. They don't tell you where it is until the night before. And so you go there and you're like, you look familiar. Is it? And you're on your phone secretly looking up these actors and oh my God, it is. So I've had a lot of scenes with him and Bill Bellamy and a lot of great actors. And it was a lot of fun. It was a multiple day shoot, and yeah.
That's so cool. Yeah. Fun.
It is. But the big movie where you're in for scenes or the independent, completely different atmosphere, I would imagine.
Oh yeah, it is. And the structure and the organization is completely different too. And the standards are different because a lot of times you just hope that these people actually do what they say they're going to do. There's a whole trust that you have to have, especially when you're at a level for me now. I'm trying to be more selective as time goes on. With who I work with, how much I'll do things for, and who's involved, and looking at the quality. I'm just do I want to be involved with that? Because I've been on so many sets where it's just traumatic. Something goes wrong, people are freaking out, or the pay's delayed. It's just a lot of different things that'll go into these films that you have to hope that everyone knows what they're doing and has their stuff together, because if not, it falls on everyone else. And then you hope that the product even comes out, because now people know you're filming and they're expecting to see it, and then people fall short, and it's not up to the actor. You just go there, you do your job, and you leave, and it's up to post-production,
right?
Things like that, and hope other actors are on time or they don't drop out. So that's the difference. Yeah.
Have you filmed in anything or that didn't end up coming out? Have you
a lot of things.
Oh, really?
A lot of things. Yeah. And where I've had to hound people because at the same time, I'm hey, you don't understand. Either it was something that I did for trade, I'm just like, you said this, it's supposed to be this. Not that I'm that trusting, but at least want a final product for my reel.
Yeah,
because I want to
Yeah.
start creating a compilation reel with different genres of acting. But when you're waiting on people to get their stuff done and then they just ghost you because they couldn't hold up their end of the bargain, or they had a falling out with so and so, so now they're not doing this, or then that person's just blaming it on someone else, and then they're also blaming it on you. Like, it's just it becomes a mess. And people don't understand that that's also so much stress under me, and part of the job where like you just deal with these random situations that no other career I feel like has to go through, that you just sit here and you're just dealing with people being like this, and then they get angry and intimidated by someone else, then they have a falling out, so now they're at odds, now the whole project is on hold. So it's just that's what I worry about, because I've been on multiple ones where I've even been targeted myself. And I pray that my reputation won't be ruined, because then they're like, oh, I know so-and-so, I'm going to tear you down, things like that. And then you're just sitting there like, what the heck do I do? Like, I just was trying to do my job,
Just doing my job.
Yeah.
I'm just here to act. Just let me act.
And you can't. That's the thing with this career, is everyone's at each other's throats for no reason. Because to me, I'm not like that. I'm just here to work with people, like-minded people, and let's just get stuff done. But other people then get intimidated, or then they try to, befriend you for the wrong reasons, or they start doing this just because they want to use it to one up each other.
Yeah.
Right. Or they don't like that you're doing better, so now they're going to try to make you look bad. So that's also a big side of the industry no one talks about, because they're scared they're going to be viewed as the one that's bad because you're the only one talking about it being bad. So, but that's part of me where I'm just like, okay, well, I'm not quiet. I'm very assertive. Like, I can't be. I have to just speak the truth of what it is, and not let these people have the power to feel like, oh, okay, look at her. Like, I know this, I'm going to say all these things, and people believe it. And I'm just like, why are you wasting your time hating?
Well, the thing with those independent films is, I mean, the budget is so, everything has to run perfectly, right, for these things to get to pull them off. So you get anything like that, and they can go off track so fast. I mean, we had Adrian Leon, who did the Kindred movie that Tori was in, and he talked about the budget and how quickly they had to, I think they did the movie in 11 days or whatever.
It was ridiculous.
And you're like, wow,
how do you
has to fall perfect.
that?
Yeah. You just have to hope that nothing goes wrong, and then there's a lot of people where, for me as an actor, if I'm looking at it from that point of view, like everything looks great. They can pitch a good speech to you, but then as time goes on, you find out like, okay, well, is this person really what they say? They have a big, they're talking a lot. And my pet peeve is like people who always have a lot to say. Like, they're always like, oh, this is going to be the biggest thing, or this is that. And then they never have anything to show for it. It literally bothers the heck out of me. And I've met so many people like that. And then you realize that they're doing that because they want the best people possible to make their film look good, or their photo shoot look good, or their name look good because, oh, I work with so-and-so, but I end up doing all the work, right? They ask me, okay, well, can you come up with the outfits, or I'm the only one doing everything. And then they're not doing their part, but then they're taking all the credit. Yeah. Right. So then you worry about all of that. And like, that's what I always worry about, is like, I'm being used right now. Like, and most of the time when I think of that, I am. And so it's just this dichotomy of everyone's like, oh, you're doing amazing, you're doing all these things. But then I worry about who's genuine in my life, because so many, even friends, platonic friends, females, males, there's always something in the back of their mind that they want out of it, and then they end up.
They're up everyone's up for themselves. So what industry is the worst and which is the best of all the ones that you're in, as far as like modeling and movies?
They all have. I think the entertainment industry within itself, I think all of them, I try to just say like, I'm in entertainment. Like, they all are the same in its own thing. It's all physically based. It's all image. It's all clout. It's all, who did it better. And I'm just trying to be me, but then now people also want to be me. So now just trying to make sure that people know that I am the carbon copy, and like someone who stole my pose, my outfit ideas, doing the exact same things. How do you handle that? You know what I mean? Like, cause it's different when I'm at a place where people know that, and I don't have to worry about anyone like, taking it from me. But when you're a place that you've worked so hard and you built this up and you blood, sweat, and tears. And then you just see someone who was your friend just copying the same thing. And now they're getting all the credit for it. And you're sitting there like, well, now I have to find something else. And then they take that. And then they release it faster than you. And then you're like, so.
But if you say something, then you sound like
you're
just trying to bash or
right,
that's too bad.
Right.
That's too
bad. You don't know what to do. It's an everyday struggle. So that's why I just try to stay as in people's faces as possible.
Positive. Well, let's speak something positive. What as in your modeling career, where have you traveled that you absolutely enjoyed the most, that you just loved, the greatest place to visit because you're there modeling?
I actually haven't traveled that much, I haven't done anything international for modeling. Okay. I've gone to California. Orange County is very beautiful. Like I've shot in Laguna and Newport and some caves. So that's gorgeous. I think California has a lot of scenery, just the West Coast in general. Because ever since I moved to Vegas, I realized like how many different things we have here that you could take advantage of.
Yeah.
So to me right now, like Vegas, like people don't think so, but like we literally have everything at our fingertips. You know, I did a theme actually, like a casino theme, where I would go to these hotels and I would dress up as the theme of these hotels, and it would look realistic. Like Excalibur, it looks like I'm in castles. And like, depending on how you style your clothes and your modeling, like you can literally make all of these places like anything you want it to be. You can go to the mountains, you can go up to Mount Charleston with the wilderness, the lake, any hotel that you have downtown, and it's very artsy. Yeah. So for a photographer and for a model, if you want something a city that has so many different options and it's accessible, honestly, like Las Vegas has so much.
Well, that's why it's booming out there so much right now, right? I mean, it's no coincidence that the independent film industry is starting to do so much out there.
Let's keep it secret, so it doesn't get too big.
Yeah.
But have you ever been to Wisconsin?
The booming.
I've been there for travel. I've never gone there to do a shoot, but when I was young,
fun.
Family loved the Dells. So
we're in Wisconsin. So
I see. I was wondering. I know your Central Time. I was like, where are they? Yeah.
Why is he asking about Wisconsin? That's a weird.
Well,
we're in Wisconsin. We're up kind of by Green Bay.
I mean, it's it's one of these things. We as a Wisconsinite, we complain about the Illinois people that always come up during the summer. So
that's me. That was me.
Yeah, taking over our Dells.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
But the Dells, you can't blame you for coming to the Dells. It's a good time.
No, Noah's Ark is a blast.
It's a blast. Absolutely.
I haven't been in so long. It's probably changed so much since then. But
yeah. I mean,
so when did you leave Chicago or Illinois?
2019.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So I read you were Las Vegas is number 6 influencer in 2020. Somewhere named you. So it didn't take you long if you only moved out there in 19 to
it did not.
Your way up the list.
Why anything's possible. Like it's been 3 years. I just had my 3-year anniversary this past April.
Awesome.
So like I moved at the right time. I always tell people that. I'm like, I can't imagine if I'd waited even a year later, the pandemic would have hit.
Right.
And then I probably wouldn't even found what I have now. And then I probably would not have gotten the jobs I have now, or the reputation. So I'm like, wow, like how things played out in my favor. Yeah.
Are you still involved with the Magic Mike show?
No, that ended. I mean, I know they're going to do a second season. I think they are. I don't know. So we'll see.
And what was your involvement with that?
I was just background pretty girl. I was just doing a couple episodes where they needed some people on the face. So you'll see me in the audience of the shows.
Okay.
I never watched the season. I haven't watched it yet. It's on HBO Max, but I know I'm in a lot of the episodes. So yeah. They would go off and they would, have performances on ghost towns. Yeah, I'm randomly in there.
Okay.
Spaces and yeah.
I'm 100% certain it's your favorite show.
Well, what can I say?
Have you seen it like live, Magic Mike?
I have not yet.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't even seen the movie. Sorry, I'm out of all of this.
So I've seen the movie. I watched them both. Because years ago, I don't know when it came out, whatever year it came out, my daughter was a huge Channing Tatum fan, and she would always love. And it was our joke that every time we went to a video place and I would pick up Magic Mike and I'd say, "Hey, should we rent Magic Mike tonight?" Always she would run over, "Yeah." And I'd be like, "No, you can't watch this." And then I'd put it back and she'd be like,
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So for her 18th birthday, I bought her both Magic Mike movies.
Yeah.
Now you can watch.
And you can watch them. And of course, she watched them before that at a friend's house. But anyways, so Magic Mike's in my brain because I've heard about it for so long.
Need to watch this. Yeah, they picked 10 guys from across America to do a competition to become a Mike. And so there are a bunch of guys who are not in the industry. They're doing their different jobs all around the country. And they have confidence, there are things that they want to work on internally. And then doing this competition helps bring out,
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's more reality TV than,
Well, she's 19 now, and she's coming home in a week from college, her freshman year in college. Maybe that'll give us something to watch over the summer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Together. We're going to bond over Magic Mike.
Lucky you.
Yeah. And then you can message me on the side. Oh my God, she likes this contestant. Like, blah, blah, blah.
She might. She's going to love it.
Come on, give me the deets. I need to know more about this guy.
Or she's like,
yeah, I became friends with all of them. So,
okay.
Yeah.
I'll put that in the list. Watch your face when I suggest it.
She's going to be so thrilled.
Or she'll be like, Channing's not in it. I don't care. Who knows?
So I got to go back to BTS. Where did the love begin? And, have you been in love with them since they debuted?
They debuted in 2013. I love their music, and it wasn't as much of like a, oh my God, they're so beautiful, like love that I have now. But it was but before, like, I listened to a couple of K-pop artists back in the day, like the older generations, like Shiny, Girls' Generation, Psy, Jessie, all those things. And I just like the beat. It was just like K-pop. I don't know if I've ever listened to K-pop like in a whole, but like it gets you popping. Like you're about to dance. And you're like, hey, this is catchy. I don't know what they're saying, but yes. So as time went on, like, and they became more in your face, like, and then they got older, obviously, because the youngest debuted when he was like 14. Oh, wow. So, at that time, and like I was in college, and like I remember when Gangnam Style came out, and now all of a sudden everyone in America is like, what is this? Like K-pop, all that stuff. And so
that was our introduction to K-pop.
I never put that together. Okay.
That was our introduction to K-pop. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah. For the wide audience, like obviously if you're American and you like K-pop, you obviously know of those things. But because Gangnam Style, like everyone knew the dance, and like it kind of introduced how K-pop and the choreography is linked. Like their choreography to those songs stays the same, so that the fans can dance along with them as they perform. So as I was just following along, and then all of a sudden, like, I just started listening to more and more K-pop as it came out, and I just became like a stan. And as new groups came out, I just saw myself slowly like watching their interviews, and I'm like, okay, I'm clearly a K-pop stan now. Let's be honest with ourselves. And then it just
embrace it. Just embrace it.
I did, because then once BTS, I got a little older, and then watching the music videos, I'm like, oh, wow, oh my God, okay, stop.
So when they were in Vegas and you were have you met any of them?
Yeah, I met them at the Grammys, and that's when I was trying not to freak out, because I was like, I didn't know they were standing there. Of course, this is a total Priscilla moment. I was watching J Balvin. I was sitting at one of like the celebrity tables, and this all happened during a dress rehearsal. So we didn't have phones. The only people there are us, the artists, the background dancers, and the crew. So it's a very intimate moment and intimate space. And I'm sitting right there, and I'm just like, I can't believe like this is the Grammys, like right there, front center at J. Cole's table, right? And I'm dancing to J Balvin, like living my life, like looking crazy with a mask on. And I feel someone staring, and right there waiting for their turn was BTS. And I did not know what to do, right? Because I'm just like, this is the moment, right? Like they're literally staring at you. Like, what do you do when BTS is like literally staring at you?
Yes.
You just look like an idiot. Like, totally, So I didn't
So
want
what
to
do you
steer too
do?
much, but I know. So I just put my mask on so they could see my face. I was like, oh, I can't breathe.
And you couldn't breathe, I'm
It
sure. Look, we are both giant fanboys for the Dave Matthews Band. So we definitely
get it. We get
being
it.
just in love with a band. And if Dave Matthews was all of a sudden standing right here, I'm sorry, but I would cut you off and be like, I'm over here now.
Yeah.
So I get it. I mean, when you're, that moment happens, I don't know what I would do. It would be crazy. So
yeah. And the girl behind me saw me just standing there like this. And I was like, oh my God, because I didn't want to stare at them because I don't want to be weird. I don't want them to feel uncomfortable because they're like, oh no, like here's a bunch of army. They might attack us. Like they don't have their entourage or security because they're just rehearsing, right? They're working right now.
Yeah.
So they're scared that people are going to pounce on them. And I don't want to be that again, because eventually if we pass our paths cross again, I don't want to be reminded as that crazy person.
When they cross again.
When.
Yeah. And so the girl behind me was like, girl, breathe. You need to breathe. And I was like, because I just went, while there's music playing, J Balvin is living his life, dope song. And I'm like, taking down my mask so they can see the full face,
Yeah, the last thing you want to do is pass out. They're going to remember that.
Maybe it'd be a good thing if I just, did something very K-drama and dramatic,
They pass out, then maybe they'll
one of them has to do
mouth.
CPR or something.
I'm just saying, for next time.
Oh my God, I can't think about it. But yeah, one member was staring at me like they moved. I don't know if you saw their Grammy performance, but
I didn't
a little bit.
They started in the audience. So they were sitting down in random tables. And when they went to the table, obviously they passed me and then they were seated. Like I had a straight line viewing point with one of the members. And I remember he was one that kept staring at me. And I thought it was a completely different member at the time until I saw him sitting there and he was just dead straight, and I didn't know what to do. So I just did it back. And I'm just like, oh my God, don't freak out right now. I was like, just take in this moment. Just remember it mentally. I couldn't.
That's so awesome.
It is a great story. I mean, to think about that you were able to be that close to them, more power to you. That's awesome.
Yeah, because it's hard. You can't just meet them and they don't allow that. With K-pop, it's not like Western culture. They used to do fan signings, but even at fan signings, you cannot take pictures with them.
Okay.
Because those pictures will end up leading to, are they dating this person? There's a bunch of rumors that start.
Oh.
The labels get attacked. The label has to write out a formal thing saying this person is not. Then that person gets hate, right? So it's a whole liability for them to be seen with random people, females especially.
So on one hand, it's like,
that's crazy.
Gee, that'd be horrible if you got rumored to be dating one of them. But to your point, they'd get hate mail.
Yeah, and I would too. I probably would get attacked. Yeah.
I would imagine any girl that got associated with them would get a lot of threats.
Yes. Yeah. And that's why they're very protected. And some K-pop artists have scandals or they have this, or people Photoshop it to make it look real. But I know back in the day, one band had to leave the group because he secretly got married. And when fans found out, he got so much hate. The label got so much hate. She did that he had to just leave. So all because he was a grown man and decided that he wanted to marry someone like a normal human being.
Your life. You're signing your life over.
Right. You do.
You K-pop fans take your music serious.
Heck yeah.
Yes. Because it's the illusion, I think, that you belong to them, the fans, and the fans belong to them. It's this relationship they have, but it's so obsessive in a way where they don't have normal lives. They work and they sleep and they can't just go wherever,
Oh God, no.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, kind of like back in the 50s or 40s when the actor, they all couldn't be out in the gossip magazines dating or married. Mm-hmm. So anyways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So are you still practicing your art?
I am.
Okay.
Yes, you're a really good researcher. You know that
that you yes.
You do your research. Yes.
I was wondering.
Do.
Okay. Is that at what time when do you find time to do it? And is it a stress relief or is it nope, even though I'm busy, I'm gonna make time because I want to create something right now?
It's both. But me being the workaholic that I am, if I'm a perfectionist. So if something doesn't come out perfectly, I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh my God, it's so stressful and it takes up a lot of time too. Yeah. Before I was really pushing it out, before I moved, I did all the paintings for my house. And so I was
wow.
like back at my parents' house, like every day I was just like, okay, I'm going to try to get this done. I have a plan in my mind. But now it's like when maybe it's because I'm getting older, but like in all the stress, but when I get home from a job, I'm just like, I just want to sit here for like 10 minutes and like, you know what I mean? And then I think about, because then to me, that painting becomes like that's a task. Like I need to do it. I need to finish it. So on one hand, I'm like, oh, wow, there's no deadline really. And like, it's only something that is between me and the painting and I don't have to show anyone. But at the same time, me being me, I'm like, okay, now this is annoying me because now it's sitting here unfinished. So, but yeah, like I can show you, there's one right there. There's two there that I did.
Oh, sure.
And yeah.
Very beautiful. So you don't have a whole bunch of paintings started, but not finished?
Oh, no.
You are not.
There's probably only one that's only halfway done now because I started it, but no.
Okay.
If I start one, yeah.
So where do you get your inspiration to paint? Do you ever during the day go, I got to remember that because I want to paint it later? Or
I'll see different things on the internet and then I'll like thank God for screenshots just so I have a mental memory like, oh yes, this, right? Like that, but I think a lot of my like emotions come out more so with my paintings. Like I think that's where I'm most vulnerable, I think, is with that work of art where I don't have to be as like seen in a way, if that makes sense. Because like I do a lot of like people, like women in paintings, all different women that look different. And then they are doing different things. These are very romantic, or they're standing looking at something, or they're wearing something, they're dancing. But back in the day, I remember it all started because I'm just like, oh, like these all represent me in some way. Okay. Even though I'm not a blonde girl at Versailles, like a part of that is like my style or someone that I wanted to be. And so like, whereas on camera, you only see my face, right? And I'm playing someone else. I'm always a different character. So like, there's that whole similarity in painting, but I can choose with my painting, like what that means or what emotion it gives off, right? I have that control.
So when you're modeling, do you envision like the clothes you're wearing?
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine.
Yeah.
I just make sure we didn't get cut off. I was gonna say, so when you're modeling, and the clothes you're wearing, do you perceive yourself as a character at that time, or yourself modeling in beautiful clothing? And I'm trying to tie that back with your artwork.
Yeah, well, that's one thing about modeling that I always tell, especially new models, and Tori was one of them, is that it relates to acting in a way. And maybe that's where I got it from, is that when I model, like I'm playing a part, and when I set up shoots, if I have the power to do so, like everything has to make sense. The outfit has to make sense, location has to make sense, and then my posing has to make sense, and hair and makeup. It has to create a story, like a whole editorial of like, because then there's no purpose to me if I'm taking a picture and why I'm wearing this. Why am I wearing this outfit? Like, what am I trying to say? This is like a photo of a girl in a bikini in an alley. Like, I'm confused. That's how I see photos of models. Like, and so I always tell models, especially when they first start out and they wonder about posing, is I don't do the same pose I would do in a bikini that I would do in an evening gown. Or if I do that pose, it has to mold where it makes sense for the gown, because I never also want any clothing item to wear me. Like I want to wear the item. I want it to be in unison. Yeah. So I see when I'm doing a shoot, like in my mind, I just kind of like an on and off switch. As the camera starts rolling, I automatically become whoever it is I'm becoming, and
so have you ever had any conflicts with a photographer that is saying, I don't care, or just smile, and you're like, no, I want to do it this way because of what you just explained to us, and he was like, no, I want it a different way? Have you ever
I've had that problem only with photographers who think that I'm a beginner. They don't do their research. And I try, and it's so hard to keep my mouth shut, but I know that like I respect, like if a photographer has their vision, right? And they are only want close-ups, it's fine, it's different, but that was already planned out. Like I understand that was the concept of the shoot. That's why you're asking me to be here. Like it's very, like I know. Whereas I've gone to some shoots where the photographer already like tells me, oh, this is what you're wearing, this is blah, blah, blah. But when it comes to posing, the way they speak to me is very just like, oh, like they'll like already direct me with something basic. They don't give me the liberty to just show myself first, or like, okay, like try this and then just let me move. They're very like, okay, do this and that. And then after, when like where they're stopping shooting, they see me do something and they're like, oh, now when you don't tell an Instagram model to pose, like it's when she poses. And I'm like, you know, I've had a lot of men who don't do their research and they just talk down to me and try to like, you know, it's a very different dynamic versus someone who had a plan, but they do it in a respectful way versus someone that like do it because they feel like, oh, another model I have to pose. Because that's a photographer's nightmares when they have to also pose the model. You know what I mean? Try to speak to the model where she understands, you know. So, yeah.
So you think it'd be better the photographer gives you his vision and then, okay, now that
that's
see it.
slow for me. Some models like to be posed because they don't know how. But for me, like,
now
if you have certain shots and then you tell me, okay, like I envision this, or can you do this? It's fine. But then also if they let me have the liberty of also like just moving, because I'm very much, I don't stay in one spot for too long. After I hear 2 clicks, I'm on to the next thing. I just let my body flow. I prefer that. Again, like respectfully, like whatever their vision is, it is what it is. But I also want the respect back as well. Like, so, but don't also treat me like, oh, this model's an Instagram model.
Well, like, if these photographers need any help in doing research, they can call us. We are research experts.
Honestly, like you guys are the king of research. I'm so shocked. I'm very impressed.
Well, thank you.
I do like to ask the questions that we can't find answers to, though. And like, what does Priscilla like to do to decompress?
Everyone asks me that question because they're just like, do you never like relax? Right. Like, I always feel like you're working.
Yeah, there's a reason you get that question a lot, right?
Yeah, I do. They're like, do you ever like have fun? Yeah. And I'm like, well, work is fun. And they're like, really? I'm like, yeah. I mean, I like K-dramas. I like, you know, I love K-pop night. That's like my one night a month where I literally have the most fun. I swear to you.
Okay.
Yeah. So
what clubs have that? Certain clubs,
only one in town. So I found out back in October, it's called Oddfellows. You're in Vegas, you have to definitely go. The reason why is because the owners, one, are very down to earth, very humble, very much like you guys. They give me that vibe. And every night they have a different theme. So they, you know, mold to everyone's different niches. So if you like Latin music, they welcome all the locals who like Latin music. You just meet other people in their niche, have fun, listen to music, their favorite music all night. Emo night's another one, you know, 90s, all those things. And so the first Thursday of every month is always designated to K-pop night. Okay. So you go there, everyone knows the choreography, they perform with the music video, you know.
Okay, that's
and you meet everyone in that niche. And it's just like, for a geek who's in K-pop, where everyone's, you know, always like, oh my God, those Asian people coming in town. Like, and meeting people who are the same, I'm like, oh my God, we're soulmates. So I made quite a few friends from that night. But
how fun could that be to, you know, that you're with other people that are going to do the dance with you? Don't care. I don't want to hear other music.
In my industry, like I love that. I love meeting people who all do different things, so I can feel like I can just be myself for like once. You know what I mean? Like it's really hard. Like if you meet a bunch of people who do what you guys do, you're like, oh, like we're just talking about what you do all day. That's all they talk about. They ask you, oh, like how do you do that? Or oh, do you ever think? And you're like, can I please just like meet someone who does? I don't know.
Whatever. Anything but.
Yeah.
So the first Thursday of every month, you take no work. You already have that in your calendar. Boom.
Yo,
I'm blocked.
If I'm free by at least 9:30, 10 at night, I will be happy. Like I remember last week, and this is a good manifestation story. If you guys are in the law of attraction, I'm queen of this because when I really want something, I just decide. So I'm filming this Netflix movie, and they're now on average 13-hour days. And I hate my life. So that Thursday, I took on the job because I was like, okay, well, the pay is good. I really don't want to, but I don't know. Like, we better be out by 10:30. And they're like, yeah, okay. Ha, ha, ha. Like, our call time's 11:45. At least, you know, by 12 hours, it's only 11:45. And I was like, no, I'm going to K-pop night. My friend's waiting for me. We have a plan. I'm going. By 10:30, I'm leaving. Guess what happens? 10 o'clock, the power goes out.
Wait, did
Yo,
you do it?
they sent everyone home. They wrapped at 10:15. I drove my ass back to town so fast. I was like, yes, and I made it. I couldn't believe it.
Is there a video you pulling a switch
Yeah, did
somewhere?
And no,
Unplug
I couldn't, like,
something?
I had asked, I was starting to freak out. I was like, hey, you guys haven't used me this whole time. When you do use me, the camera's not facing me. I was like, do I need to be here? Like,
Yeah.
I will let go of that 2 hours overtime. Like, I don't care. Like, this is driving me nuts. Like, I've been here all day. And they're like, okay, well, I don't know. We'll see what we can do. But like, we're looking at wrapping around midnight, 1 o'clock. I was like, no. I was like, no, this is not happening. Then all of a sudden, power just goes out. And I was like,
I'm going to K-pop night.
yeah, even the second AD was like, weren't you the one that wanted to leave? I was like, yes. And he's like, why did you do this? And I was like, sorry, bye.
Sometimes the gods just work in mysterious ways.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Awesome. So not to dwell, but your artwork, is there a place that people can go see your artwork? Do you have what do you do with your artwork?
A lot of it is I either do for other people. My parents have a ton of it on their walls, but then also in their storage. I have some in my garage. A lot is in this house. But yeah, now because of my busy schedule, I don't have much time. So now, unless I need to do one because there's an empty space and I plan to put one there, like,
okay,
I don't, which is good because then I like have it, or, it's hard though, because I just feel like it only started not as like a job, it's just one of those things that I just did and I realized that I was good at. And I was like, oh, like, look at this little thing that like I can say that I can also do, until it became so like people started to find out. And then they ask for a bunch of different things that are not in my niche at all, painting. And then I'm like, oh my God, this is going to become one of those things where it's a job, but it's not something that intended on being one. So now the fun of it is taken away, if that makes sense.
It
and
does,
it's another job that's also time consuming, right? So it's not something that's quick and I can also do it like influencer work, like something, it's going to take a lot of time. So I try to just, it's like my thing. You know what I mean?
Yours.
Like,
okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Not that I won't do it. If someone asks me, like a friend or a family member, like, hey, like, would you be able to do this for me? I still would, but it's not where I'm going to make a whole separate website and start doing prints and have my own gallery, maybe gallery one day, but I'm not going to approach it as like, hey, I'm this like full-time artist that wants to be seen. Maybe one day if someone's like, oh, the work of Priscilla Moy, then it's different. But yeah,
absolutely.
Not yet. But okay, well, I just wanted to make sure that if it was out there for people to see it, we definitely wanted to bring it up and promote it, but keep it to yourself. Keep it to yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I have pictures of it. It's different, but I don't want to advertise it as like, oh, like she's taking. She's a working artist with a gallery, like if people want to see it, I'm more than happy to be like, oh yeah, I did this. But I upload some of them on my Instagram. A lot of it's on my personal Facebook. I have an album, but here and there, like I take pictures with them and you'll see them, or I'll do a new one and I'll post it like, oh, latest work and stuff like that. So
awesome.
Yeah,
well, I'll take a look on Facebook because I'd like to look at it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So with that, what do you want to promote? What do you want us to tag with everybody in besides just your beautiful self?
Well, I mean, I think as time went on, and I always thought about like what I wanted to be considered as, because as we learn, like I hate labels. Like I think it's just like me at this point and what I do. Like, like I model, I act, but then I can also do fashion modeling, commercial modeling. But then there's me as a whole where like every day I leave the house, I'm like, I don't want to say that like I love the attention, but I like know I'm going to be seen. You know what I mean? I want you to focus like, wow, like her outfits, I've never seen anything like that. Because to me, like I love fashion. When I was younger, I thought I was going to be a fashion designer. So like a part of me is just like, I want people to know who I am. So that way I can use that to just make the impact in the industries that I am in, and I don't want to just be considered as another actress or a model, right? I want people to remember my name because of things that I want to change within the industry so that people can see that they can do it as well. Because also being an Asian American female, that within itself is its own other ballpark that,
Sure.
you know, and it's just a lot harder for people like my height and then my ethnicity, and then my gender to get certain levels and to be very strong in certain things or not being seen as this thing.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, she's just another model, another actress, another whatever. She just wants this, or oh, she's an influencer, you know, like people brush it aside. So I just kind of want to be like, okay, well, you'll remember my name, because then with that attention, you'll see the impact that I'm making in what I do, if that makes sense.
It does,
because we noticed.
Yeah.
And thank you for not letting any of those things hold you back.
And I, you know,
Yeah.
I'm someone who truly believes in manifestation, and I can tell that you do as well. And
Yes.
And I think this isn't, you know, that someday you're going to be on podcasts that, you know, are much bigger than this one. And so we really appreciate you, with as busy as you are, giving us this much of your time.
Absolutely.
And,
well, thank you guys. Actually, like, this is like such an honor, because I'm like, you really want to like ask about my like, I feel like it's just not as interesting. And we're, you know, but
well, you know, once we saw you from Tori, and it was like, yeah, absolutely. We want to know more about you. So thank you.
I mean, I think the thing for us with this thing is just talking to as many interesting people as we can, you
Getting to
know,
know people,
and whatever part of life they're in or whatever. It's just, it's fun to have interesting conversations. So
yeah, everyone has a story. I think that's so fun to learn. You know, you learn more about life and people just from meeting different types of people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if people want to find Priscilla, where should they go? Is Instagram the main place, or?
Yeah, I think I prefer Instagram the most, and that's where I post the most. Professionally, like I'm on IMDb. I have my website. My website attached, my Instagram, but yeah. Excellent. Or just look at the big screen or look at the magazines. Like you'll see me eventually, honey. Like then you can't ignore me. So hello.
Well, we couldn't ignore you.
And we're gonna be looking for you. I'm gonna go watch Magic Mike or whatever, the Magic Mike show. Okay, the Magic Mike show. I gotta make sure I remember this.
Finding Magic Mike.
Okay. I don't want to accidentally watch the movie.
You'll be looking like, hey, I didn't see you. Like you said you were in it. I'm like,
so he'll watch it again and again.
Yeah.
Well, we'll contact you after this because we want to send you a tank top with our logo on it.
Oh,
absolutely. So we'll get a hold of you after that, where to send it, and we'll get you one.
Of course. I'm so glad I met you guys. I feel like I made 2 new friends. Like when I'm in Wisconsin, I'm gonna be like, listen.
There you go.
Where's the old fashions at?
We'll meet you in the Dells. I promise.
We got you some. We know where to get the good ones. We know where to get the good old fashions for sure.
Thank you so much.
Of course. If you come to Vegas, give me a call. So
I think we have to come to Vegas soon, because like I said, doing this podcast, we've met so many people from Vegas that
have asked us to come out. We're like, we need to. Actually, on my birthday, they're like, why didn't you come to Vegas to celebrate your birthday? From Adrian and Pat. So.
There's a lot of interesting people here that you guys would love.
It's a great time.
Like a lot.
It's a great time. Yes, I've been there many times.
Yeah, but we got to get in. So well, thank you very much. We will definitely reach out when we come.
Thank you guys.
All right. Have a good night.
Yes, enjoy your night.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening. The tavern is closed for now, but we'd love to have you back for more fun next time. Seriously though, get your asses out of here.